Hi everyone from India. I am Priyam Singh. So firstly, thank you to all the organizers. You have done a fantastic job in putting on this event. And thanks as well to sponsors and attendees for turning up even virtually. A little about me. So I am a DevSecOps engineer at Kloudle. Kloudle is an easy to use cloud native security monitoring SaaS platform. And I also contribute to communities such as Null. It is an open security community. I am also chapter lead at Chandigarh InfoSec Girls, and it is a community for women passionate about information security. At the last but not the least, I am a student of final year graduation. So this is all about me. Let's get started with agenda of the session. Firstly, we will talk about what is DevSecOps, what is DevSecOps CI/CD pipeline, and what we mean by CI/CD. Also about the stages of pipeline approach and implementation. At the last, the key points. Next comes a quick disclaimer that in the talk, in this session, I will be talking a lot about tools. So I don't recommend any tools. It's just I have used it because I find it suitable for my application or for my software, the language it was there or the environment I was using. So for you, it completely depends upon which tool you choose or which application you are working on. So let's start with DevSecOps. What do we mean by DevSecOps? DevSecOps is development, security, and operations. Dev for development, Sec for security, and Ops for operation. So DevSecOps promotes security as a shared responsibility culture, wherein security is not a responsibility for only one specific team or only one person, but everyone in the team is accountable for security. So DevSecOps aim to integrate security controls in the early stage of software development or the application build rather than implementing it at the end. So it integrates security measures from the start of development instead of in the last. Once the deployment of the application is done, we come forward and do the security part, and we like waste much of time or the resources are wasted. It is better that we identify in the starting of the software development where we started. Then comes the second point. We automate security with the latest tools and concepts at every level. So earlier, we don't used to have any feedbacks when we have waterfall model or when we were having agile model. But after that, we came DevOps where the gap was reduced and we started getting feedbacks. After that, DevSecOps came when which the feedbacks are there and we can do the improvements then and there, and security is integrated. So we can also define as integrating security practices with the DevOps process, and adding Sec to DevOps forms the DevSecOps. So DevOps is the security and it gives the forms the DevSecOps. What is DevSecOps CI/CD pipeline? As DevSecOps refers to integrated security into your software development lifecycle. So a DevSecOps pipeline is a set of security practices which are incorporated into your SDLC. So SDLC is software development lifecycle to build and test and deploy secure software faster and easier. So there are advantages of DevSecOps CI/CD pipeline. These advantages are like first is earlier identification of security vulnerabilities, and we don't have to wait till the last stage. It can be identified early only, and improved speed and agility for security teams, and the development of the software is secure and the speed is increased. So firstly, we will know like what we mean by actually CI/CD words. The CI in the CI/CD is continuous integration, and it always refers to which is an automation process for developers. Successfully, CI means the new code changes to an application or a software that are regularly built, tested, and merged to a shared repository. And CD in CI/CD, one refers that continuous delivery and or continuous deployment, which are related concepts that sometimes get used interchangeably, both about automating further stages of the pipeline. But they are sometimes used separately to illustrate just how much automation is happening. Continuous delivery usually means a developer's changes to an application are automatically bug tested and uploaded to a repository like GitHub, or we can say container registry, where they can then be deployed to a live production environment by the operations team or the people who are doing the operations. So continuous deployment, the other possible CD can refer to automatically releasing a developer's changes from the repository to production, where it is usually by customers. It addresses the problem of overloading operation team with manual processes that slow down app delivery, and it builds on the benefits of continuous delivery by automating the next stage in the pipeline. Let's start with the stages of the pipeline, which I will be discussing further. So firstly, the build will start in Jenkins. Then, okay, so what is Jenkins? Jenkins is a self-contained open source, it's an automation server that can be used to automate all sorts of tasks related to building, testing, and delivering or deploying software. And Jenkins can be installed through any native system packages, Docker, or even run standalone by any machine with a Java runtime environment, that is JRE installed. So after the start build, application code is pulled from the GitHub. We have to just provide the link and it will pull the GitHub code. And after that, Jenkins executes the initialization stage. Then next step happens, that is Jenkins build the application dependencies that are required for the application you are working on or the software. And after that build stage, we come to SCA stage. So SCA is software composition analysis. And in this, the tool I will be explaining is ODC, that is OAS Dependency Check. And after the OAS Dependency Check is done, this report is stored. And after that, it comes SAST stage, which is static analysis. And in this, I have used SNEC, and the report is stored for this. Then comes source code quality analysis. For this, as the application I am using, for example, is Suite CRM, which is in PHP. So it is source code quality analysis is language based. So I will be using PHP code sniffer, and the report is stored. After that, build happens, and once the build is done, we do DAST, that is dynamic application security testing. So DAST is done when the application is in the running stage. And the tool used is JAP, that is Jet Application Proxy. So we after that store the report, and last stage is SBOM, software bill of materials. The tool is Cyclone DX, and report is stored. So for all the steps we are doing, we are also storing the report. You can do it at once also. So after that comes Jenkins stops running installs of app so on the prod server and copies the updates and restarts the app, deploy the app server. After that, the build completes. So let's discuss about all these stages which I have defined here in a little detail. Firstly comes software composition analysis. So it is like all the tools which I am taking over here are open source only. So software composition analysis is an automated process that identifies the open source software in a code base. The analysis is performed to evaluate security and license compliance and code quality. So companies need to be aware of open source license limitations and also the obligations. Tracking these obligations manually becomes very tiring, like it's not so easy to do. An automated solution like SCA, the software composition analysis, was developed, and from this initial use case, it expanded to analyze code security and quality. So in a modern DevSecOps environment, the SCA helps in the shift left paradigm. So the security is used in the form of shift left, that is, it's done from the starting, not in the end. After the deployment of a software is complete, then we take care of security. That's not done. It's done by shift left process. And the earlier and continuous SCA testing has enabled like developers and the security teams to drive productivity without compromising security or quality. So let's look for the importance of SCA. So firstly is that we can automatically track open source components and the continuous monitoring for vulnerability detections. And there are also automated and prioritized vulnerabilities remediations. License risk management is also taken care. So what are the tools over here? Firstly, the OWASP dependency check, that is ODC. So what is this? It is a software composition analysis tool which attempts to detect publicly disclosed vulnerabilities contained within a project's dependencies. So software composition analysis tools scan the open source code, software to inventory all open source components, and it is important as modern enterprise application can comprise up to 80 to 90% open source components. And given this, the risk of security and IP risks of open source components can be very significant, and tools to help mitigate these risks become critically important. So over here, the code is there, and when a new branch is created, code is deployed and pull request. We do the software composition analysis and quality check commits. After that, if there are any problems, we will go and change it and do a new branch commit, and it will again, there will be a code developed and pull request. So we don't have to wait till the after the production deployment. It is deployed completely the tool and come back to the remove the vulnerabilities, but we can do over here only where we spot the issues. Okay, so next comes SAST. What we mean by SAST? SAST is static application security testing. So it is done when the application is not in the running state, it is stationary. It's a process that analyzes a project source code and dependencies and related files for known security vulnerabilities. It examines the code to find the flaws, or we can say software weaknesses, such as SQL injection or any other which are listed in OWASP top 10. SAST could also help identify segments of project's logic which might lead to security vulnerability. It is also known as white box testing because as the tester has access to the underlying framework, the design and the implementations, the application is tested from inside out. And it supports a flipped approach, the SAST also. So identifying defects earlier, it leads to lower cost of remediation and delivering fast feedbacks and providing the exact location of vulnerabilities and their costs. The tool for SaaS which I used is Snake, and okay, so Slick is an open source security platform for finding out vulnerabilities in the source code of an application. Here is the report where we can see that the severity is medium or it is high, and we can take care of it if we face any issues like it is going to create a problem. Then comes the next stage, that is source code quality analysis. And okay, over here I will be talking about linting. Linting is the automated checking of source code for programmatic and stylistic errors only. So this is done by using a linting tool. A lint tool is a basic static code analyzer. Linting is important to reduce errors and improve the overall quality of code. Using lint tools can help accelerate development and reduce costs by finding errors earlier. And linting tools are language specific, and thus the tool that can be used depends on the application being tested or the software being used. And nowadays we have different linters which provide many types of checks like syntax errors, or it can be code standard adherence or potential problems security checks. So code quality analysis tools are language specific. So for the application like Suite CRM, which are meant for PHP applications, the tool I used is PHP Code Sniffer, and there are many other tools available. You can choose or use any which suits your application or the environment you are working. Little about the Code Sniffer tool. So PHP Code Sniffer is like a set of two main scripts. That is, first is PHP CS script, and it helps to detect the violation of predefined coding standards. And a second is PHP CBF script that can automatically correct these violations. Okay, so moving towards when the build happens and the application is in running state, and we do DAST, that is dynamic application security testing. So in the dynamic application security testing, it's done during the running of the application, and it is also called black box testing technique, in which the DAST tool interacts with the application being tested in a running state to imitate as an attacker. And DAST tools are especially helpful for detecting input-output validation or cross-site scripting and SQL injections. Okay, so it is also server configuration mistakes can be identified, and the authorization issues other problems which manifest in real time or become visible only a known user logs in. It scans the client side and the server side as well. So the tool uses JAB tool. It is open source, and it is like man in the middle proxy. What it means is that So JED attack proxy is an open source tool, so used to perform dynamic application security testing, which is designed specifically for web applications, and it imitates an actual user where it interacts with the application to perform various attacks. At its core, JAP is what known as man in the middle proxy, which I mentioned earlier also. So it stands between the tester browser and in the web application, so that it can intercept and inspect the messages which are going sent between the browser and the web application, and modify the contents if needed. and then forward those packets to the destination. I have also shared a report for the JAP report. Is just a portion of the snapshot. So over here it shows that there is a potential excesses. So we can take care of it or remove it or make the changes accordingly so that we don't face this issue later on, or we don't have someone like a security team working at the last of the when the application is deployed. Then comes software bill of materials. Software bill of materials is a list of components which are used to like assemble or create a product, and it gives out a specification about how each component was used in the making of the end product. And a software bill of materials refers to the list of software components or the open source or commercial that was utilized to build a software solution. And it responds quickly to the security or license or any operational risks that come with open source use. The tool used is CycloneDX, so it is available for every languages, different languages. You can use the one that suits your application or your environment. And this is the SBOM report. This is also just a part of this snapshot. Okay, so here we can see that the name is PHP CS Fixer, and the description is given and the license used. So this tool is automatically fix PHP code style. And like this, we can get to know what are the what are the components we used in the product. Okay, so we will be now covering the key points we got to know for the CICD pipeline. Firstly is that release is faster. Yes. So the failures are detected faster and as such can be repaired faster, leading to increasing release rates. However, frequent releases are possible only if the code is developed and in a continuously moving system. Also, CICD, continuous integration and continuous deployment, continuously merges the codes and continuously deploys them to production after thorough testing. And keeping the code in a release ready state, it's important to have as part of deployment a production environment set up that closely mimics that which end users will ultimately be using. And next is that increase in the team transparency and accountability. So CICD is a great way to get continuous feedback, not only from our customers, but also from our own team or the groups working. So this increasing is the transparency of any problems or any issues going in the team, and it encourages responsible accountability. The next point is smaller code changes, as we have seen that a portion of is creating issue, we can change it then and there. So one technical advantage of continuous integration and continuous delivery is that it allows you to integrate small pieces of code at one time. These code changes are simpler and easier to handle than huge chunks of code, and as such that we will have further issues that may need to be repaired at a lower later date. So using continuous testing, these small pieces can be tested as soon as they are integrated into the code repository, allowing the developers to recognize a problem before too much work is completed afterward. So these works really well for like large development teams who work remotely, as nowadays it's happening a lot, and as well as those in-house, as communication between team members can be challenging. And it also helps in the reduction of the cost. as the automation in the CI/CD, the continuous integration and continuous delivery pipeline reduces the number of errors that can take place in the many repetitive steps of CI/CD, and doing so also like frees up developers and time that could be spent in the product development, as there aren't like as many code changes to fix down. So the road of the error is caught quickly. After that comes the customer satisfaction. So the advantages, like one of the main advantages is that CI/CD do not only fall into the technical aspect, but also in an organization scope. So the first few moments of new customer trying out like your product is a make or break it moment. So don't waste like first impression, as they are key to turning new customers into satisfied customers. And keep keep your customers happy with fast turnout of new features or any bug fixes. So utilizing a CI/CD approach also keeps your product up to date with the latest technology and allows you to give new customers who will select you over the competition through word of mouth and positive reviews. At the last, the last point is more test reliability. So using CI/CD test, the reliability improves due to the bite size and specific changes introduced to the system. And it also allows for more accurate positive and negative tests, which are to be conducted. And test reliability within CI/CD can also be considered continuous reliability, and with the continuous merging and releasing of new products and features, knowing that the quality was top of mind throughout the entire process, that assures that stockholders their investment and worthwhile. So this was all about the session. Thank you, and let me know that if there are any questions.